reveals the very essence and purpose of the ceremony of initiation. And in fact, it reveals to us the purpose of human life. Purified or unpurified, or even having passed through all situations, one who remembers the beautiful lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes purified within and without. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Satya Prema Sravanadi Surichiti Kodiyoti. Love for Krishna is within the heart of every living man. It is the need that everyone has. Ananda Mayodashva. Every species of life, all entities are looking for pleasure. Because the nature of the soul, the source of life, is Satchidananda, eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. It is for this reason that we are averse to dying. Because the trees and the plants, everything is in the process of dying. It is completely natural. Why should we be averse to something that is completely natural and inevitable? For the body, it's natural. And for the Atma, the soul, it's totally unnatural. Because the soul never takes birth and never dies. When the Atma identifies with this body and identifies with this thing that is growing old, getting diseased and dying, it is feeling such a tribulation because it's completely against our nature. Why is suffering cause so much suffering? Because it's totally unnatural. For the soul, Ananda is full of bliss. Its nature is to always be happy. That's why suffering is so bad in this world. Because it's totally foreign to who we really are. But we're accepting it. There can be no suffering to the body unless there's a soul in the body. The dead corpse does not suffer, whatever you do. But when the soul is in the body, there's suffering. Because the soul's looking for pleasure. The soul desperately needs unending, ecstatic pleasure. But identifying with this body, so many interferences. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada would say the only problem in this world is a lack of Krishna consciousness. The soul has forgotten its own constitutional nature. The mind is like a mirror. When the soul looks at life through the mind, it's supposed to see transparent through the mind into the world. The soul is supposed to be seeing the world. And the mind are like what the soul is seeing through as long as it's within this embodied existence. When the mind is covered with dust, like a mirror, and you look in that mirror, you're supposed to see yourself, but all you see is the dust. And you identify, thinking, I am that dust. But by chanting Krishna's names, we can purify the mirror of the mind, cleanse it, so it's in its natural state, so that through the mind we can see ourselves. We can see the world, and we can see Krishna as it is. So purification of the heart, purification of the mind is the goal of human life. And in different religious systems, and in different paths of yoga, there are different methods of purification to bring one to various levels of realization of the truth. For some who practice the jnana yoga process, they are trying to realize ultimately, beyond its body and mind, the all-pervading Brahman, the energy of the Lord. For those who are trying to perfect the Ashtanga yoga process, they are trying to realize the Paramatma seated in the heart. But the fullest, most inclusive of all God levels of God realization is revealed as Bhagavatam. To try the bhaktas through the purification of the heart, it is aimed specifically at awakening the prema, the love that is within each and every one of us. But this love is very different than the love we know in this world. Because the love of this world is generally forgetful of our own spiritual nature and forgetful of the spiritual nature of others. Under the illusion that we are these bodies and minds, we are trying to find a perfect relationship. But because it is temporary, and because it is limited, it cannot really satisfy the heart. But the same thing we're looking for in every situation of life, that pleasure, can be found in its fullness when we direct our propensity to love in Krishna. Krishna is all attractive. In Bhagavad Gita, he explains that all the beautiful and wonderful things of this entire world are but a spark of his splendor. One time, devotees were walking along the seashore of Srila Prabhupada, and the sun was setting. The devotees were really thrilled by the beauty of the sunset. They expressed to Srila Prabhupada what they were experiencing. Prabhupada said, if you think the art is beautiful, you should see the artist. It is just a spark of his splendor. Can you imagine? Mamaivam so jiva loke, jiva bhuta samata. Every living being is just a spark of Krishna, like a sun ray is to the sun planet. And we know how another person in this world can infatuate, intoxicate our mind with attraction. And that's just a little sun ray spark. Can you imagine seeing the complete sun of Krishna? Where whatever opulences are attracting, whatever qualities are attracting us in this world, in such a limited degree, are enticing us to such a degree, actually experience Krishna, his beautiful qualities, qualities of beauty, strength, knowledge, wealth, fame, and renunciation, are unlimited and ever expanding? Can you imagine an ocean that has no shore and no bottom, and it's ever expanding? We can't even imagine that. But that is nothing that can equate to Krishna. It's unlimited yet ever expanding and forever. It is the soul's nature to know Krishna and to love Krishna and to forever feel Krishna's love for us. One little tiny part of Krishna, in a conditioned state, covered over, loves us, and it means so much to us. It's wonderful. But can you imagine the complete whole, the absolute truth, unlimited, directing full love on you? That's what it means to be God conscious, to feel Krishna's total love on us. And in that state we are forever completely ecstatic, protected, and satisfied. That experience is what everyone is yearning for, because that is everyone's nature. But unfortunately, forgetting who we are or what we really want, birth after birth after birth after birth, we're trying for it here, in this material world. We can find it while we're in this material world, but we have to search for it within our own hearts. And then we can see it everywhere. There is the analogy of the deer, the musk deer. What is musk? Kosturi? That is the Hindu for musk. Kosturi. The musk is within the body of the male deer. And he smells it, he's intoxicated, he's attracted. And that deer spends his whole life roaming through the forest looking for the source of that smell, not knowing it's within himself. That is the dilemma of this world. The pleasure of love that we are looking for is within ourselves, because our nature is to love Krishna. And we're searching for it in so many things, in so many different, and we're not really looking for it in people, we're looking for it in things, because the person is the soul. If we're actually seeing the person, we're seeing the soul. But when we love the body, we're not loving the person, we're loving the thing around the body. Actually, it's the person that's lovable, but we're not identifying with who they really are. But when we realize our own soul and our own relationship with God, we realize everyone in relationship with God. And forgetfulness of that is the cause of all conflict, disagreement, envy, and suffering, and pain. So initiation is when we take vows of commitment to the process of purification by which this love of God can be awakened in us. In this age of Kali, Radhanath-Swami-Media, the prime benediction Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Is that Krishna is the same within his name. The name of Krishna is not different than Krishna. Om Apavitrapavitropa Sarvavastam Vitropa. Because the name of Krishna is all pure. By associating with that sound vibration, we become purified. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, and it's so simple. Whether one is man or woman or old or young, or from any caste, or from any nationality, or from any social or economic category, it makes no difference whatsoever. We are all eternal souls. We are all equal on the spiritual platform, and we all have equal right to know Krishna and love Krishna. It is required that we sincerely take shelter of Krishna's names. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of all the people in the universe, he made the Namacharya the highest example for all time to come of how to attain perfection while chanting the holy names. To Haridas Thakur, who was by social observation, he was considered an outcast by society. But for God, for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he proclaimed that Haridas, if you leave this world, how will I have any pleasure? Your love for me is my greatest joy. And when Haridas Thakur left this world, when he died, the Supreme Lord lifted his body up and danced with it, wouldn't let go of it. Now a dead corpse is untouchable. And he was also untouchable by caste. But even his untouchable corpse from a person like that, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was holding it, embracing it, and dancing it, and considering on becoming purified. And then Lord Chaitanya took that body and personally bathed it in the ocean and said, from this day on, this ocean is a holy place. To purify the whole ocean just by putting someone's body. That's to the degree Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to show the world how great is a person who awakens that divine love through the chanting of Krishna's names. So for this initiation ceremony, we are taking a vow to really sincerely take shelter of the holy name, at least 16 hours every day. The quantity, at least 60 rounds that Prabhupada has given us, is very important to regulate. But the quality is all important. Within that time that we are chanting, we must be very attentive. And what does it actually mean to be attentive? This is a very deep subject. It doesn't mean just to fix your mind on a name. It means that. But we have to develop the proper service attitude by which we can fix our minds on the name in such a way that Krishna is happy. If you're envious of people and you're fixing your mind on the name, Krishna's not happy. But if you're das anu das, if you're really in the mood of serving of the servant, then you're giving Krishna pleasure. It's Krishna's bhavagrahi. He doesn't see just what you do. He sees the intention and the purpose in which you do it. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us a very simple, but sometimes difficult formula. which is essential to really please the Lord and attract the all-attractive while we are chanting. Trinadavi Suniche, Tagore Ibase Shriya, Amani Namani Dena Kirtaniya Sada. Our goal should not be to be great. Our goal should be to be grateful. And how to be grateful? One should strive to be more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. One should be eager to offer all respect to others and should not demand and expect respect for oneself. If we have that state, we can actually have a grateful heart. And then when we cry out the name of Krishna, Krishna is pleased to manifest His beauty, His sweetness in His name. And then Kirtaniya Sadahari. And it's quite natural, spontaneous, that we want to chant the holy names of the Lord constantly. And we want to share this gift with the world. Srila Prabhupada explained that when one gets the gift of love of God, the nature of that love is we become selfless in our compassion toward all living beings. If a person is not selflessly compassionate to others, that means they don't have real love of God. They have it, but it's not awakened, it's not accessed. That's the natural sin. Namajam Tamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasadika. But the name of Krishna is like Chintamani. It could fulfill all the innermost desires of our life if we chant with the proper attitude of being the servant of the servant of the servant. We follow these four regulative principles, which upon initiation we're committing ourselves. No illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, no nudity. Because when we're chanting the holy names, we're cleaning the heart of all of these egoistic coverings. But when we engage in these particular activities, it's like the elephant that takes a bath and then comes out and rolls in the dirt. It's a very difficult task to clean something while you're throwing heaps of dirt in it simultaneously. So if we live a sattvic life, a life in the mood of goodness, and we chant the holy name with a mood of service or bhakti, then very quickly our consciousness is cleansed and we become peaceful. And beyond peace, we become ecstatic in experiencing Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is written, he's taken the whole Siddhanta of so many hundreds of scriptures and he's condensed it into such a simple, easy formula which is so comprehensive. If we just chant the holy names in this spirit, living a pure life and with humility and devotion. If we simply serve the Vaishnavas, and if we are kind to try to help the conditioned souls, then Krishna will reveal everything to us. So practical. Just chant Hare Krishna with a humble state of mind. Be eager to serve the devotees of the Lord, and be eager to be the well-wishing friend to help those who are in need. Srila Prabhupada personified this in his own life. He is our founder, Acharya. He had such faith in the holy name, not just theoretical, but through realization. To do what he did, you cannot do based on theoretical information. He was an embodiment of love. 70 years old, just had 2 heart attacks on a boat, a cargo ship, 38 days over 2 oceans and 3 continents. Now he's in a ghetto in the most corrupt city of the world at the time, New York, with nobody to help him, with no facilities, with absolutely no money. Why did he continue? Because he was tasting Krishna's love. And he had such complete faith that anyone, whoever they may be, whatever they have done in the past, it doesn't matter. Anyone who simply learns the art of chanting Krishna's holy names with feeling will achieve Anandam Murivardana, the satisfaction that they've always been looking for, the satisfaction of Krishna's love. One time, the devotee asked Prabhupada, what is our qualification for getting such a great culture, philosophy, and opportunity to perfect our lives? And Srila Prabhupada, with all humility, was honest. He said, you have no qualifications. He said, I have given you your qualifications. It was his sacrifice, which nobody else was willing to do. That was our qualification. He was going house to house, door to door, just begging people, take Krishna's name. And when the opportunity came, he was going from city to city, from state to state, from country to country, from continent to continent, with the same message. Chant Krishna's name, worship Krishna, remember Krishna. Krishna's your mother, Krishna's your father, Krishna's your real wealth, the treasure of life. Krishna's your life and soul. So by his compassion, we have all come here together. And Srila Prabhupada wanted us to cooperate based on the higher principle of loving devotional service. In the age of Kali Yuga, there are unlimited reasons to become separated through quarrel. And even in spiritual societies, practically as much as in material societies, there's reasons to fight. Fighting over which ideology best represents the scripture, which ideology best represents our guru, whose guru is better, which temple is better. Ultimately, it's all stemming from each one of us want to be better. So we use our guru, we use our religion, everything to try to prove that I'm better than you, or we are better than you. Once we prove that we are better than you, then we have to fight over who's better than who in the we. Once we establish our religion is better, and there's fighting within the religion. Which interpretation is better? then of those with the same interpretation. Which teacher is good? And then with those within the same teacher. Which servant of the teacher? Or which interpretation of the teacher? Within this time, Prabhupada is the founder Acharya, is the personality that can bring us all together. And on his deathbed, he said, you can show your love for me by how you cooperate. The only way there can be cooperation and satisfaction in any relationship for duration of time is we have to focus on the higher principle. In marriage, there's every reason to fight and to divorce, but there's a higher principle. And if we focus on the higher principle, we adjust everything in such a way that we make things work. And through that sacrifice, actual love starts growing between us. There's a price. Among God brothers and God sisters, or God cousins and God nephews, and all of these different relationships we have. Yes. Kali will give us unlimited reasons to fight and to disagree and to go our own ways. But the higher principle is what will please Krishna. What will please Krishna? What will please Prabhupada? Samsagir Haritoshanam. The perfection of anything we do is how we please Krishna. And Krishna wants us to all to take a humble position to cooperate for a higher purpose. So those of you who are taking initiation together, as far as I'm concerned, these are the vows you're taking. Chanting the 16 rounds, following the 4 regulative principles are essential. But to do them properly, in a way that will please Krishna, we have to have this service attitude, unselfish. And to make spiritual advancement, even chanting the holy names, we have to do it in a way that the person who gave his life to save us is pleased with us. Srila Prabhupada. So we should be striving to put aside our own egos and actually try to create a mood of cooperation, a mood of really caring for each other. And together, when we really care for each other, we will be empowered to give Prabhupada's message to the world in a very effective and very powerful way. So this is what we expect of all of you. This spirit of devotion. And if we have this spirit of devotion, we naturally guard against the 10 offenses of the holy name. Offenses are born, really, of ego and envy. Prabhupada wrote, every letter he signed, your ever well-wisher. As his servants, we're supposed to be representing him as everyone's well-wisher. That's really what it means to be an ISKCON devotee in spirit. Prabhupada's the ever well-wisher. We're all meant to be representing him by being everyone's well-wisher. Now we will recite the 10 offenses.